It's through faith, and I'll tell you that I read the Bible. I'll drop to my knees and I'll pray, and it's just and that's all faith. I mean, everybody has to have their way of staying mentally strong, and that's my way of doing it, you know.
Hmm. And that's what helps. That's what separates people from a lot. We just lose faith within the journey. The journey is not going to go your way. Absolutely, it's not going to go your way 100% of the time. But it's preparing you to be the person to accept what is about to come to you. You had to start at 15, but yeah, how old are you now? If you mind me
um
asking.
43.
43. You had to thought at 15. And the thought is still ingrained and it's buried in your mind at the age of 43. The only thing that has changed is time and the way you have developed within yourself.
The funny thing is that I feel that faith is very important, and
Mhm.
it's like you said, things aren't always clear, and the path to success isn't always a straight line. I mean, people don't see the struggle, but as you're going through, you're trying to be successful, you're trying to accomplish a goal. um, I wish I had an easel board, but a lot of people think it's okay. You're going to start here, and hold on, let me see. There you go. There you go. You're going to start here, and your success is a straight line, which is going to be here. But this is your beginning point. This is success. But that line, but to get from your beginning to your goal, is it going to be a straight line? It's going to go like this, and you're going to go through all these hoops and all these winding roads till you get to success,
Mm.
right? But that's the thing, is that while you're going through all these hoops and winding roads, you got to keep your faith. You've got to stay mentally strong and just don't give up. Keep going.
As easy as that sounds, it's not that simple. you
But you've
gotta
got to
you gotta
you've got
put
to
forth the effort.
you gotta live it. No, you've got to live it. You've got to live it. I think that's the biggest thing. And like I said, I can continue pointing to these white hairs, and it's the the wisdom. And the reason that I am now who I am is because I lived it. You know,
Hmm.
I've I've failed and failed and failed and failed and tried to accomplish things and failed and tried to accomplish things and failed. And after going through it, I see you know all the things I'm talking about, all the things that I've experienced in life, and all the things that I'm telling you, like such as the beginning point, the end point, and all the curvy roads and everything, are things that I saw, and I understand it now. When I see it, I understand it now, and I say, yes, that's totally true. I lived it, so I understand it. As a young man, before I had all the knowledge, all the wisdom, I didn't get it. When I heard that thing, I said, I don't understand. It just didn't hit me. It just didn't hit home. But now that I've been through all of it, and I understand the winding roads that go between, the starting point and your goal, it's just a part of being successful and accomplishing that goal. So I mean, I look at, like, I mean, I have, I mean, there's just I starting off being on welfare, to growing up and actually accomplishing things in life. It wasn't a straight it wasn't a straight line.
Mm.
There were bumpy roads, and everything else I had to go through.
Mm. And the man you are today is because of what you had to go through. And it's so special that you recognizing this because you understand what you needed to learn in order to be the person you are today. What was that one thing that registered to you that you heard when you was younger, but it registered to you when you got older? What was that one thing?
She's there's just so much. I mean, I think everything that I heard, everything that I was told as a young man, it stuck with me, and I heard a lot of things from people that I admired, and when I heard a lot of things from people that I admired, I held to it. Though I didn't understand it, I held to it. And after I've actually experienced it and been through it, it came to light. It's okay, it's true. But just people that I admire, they give me advice and they tell me things, or even the self-help books. I've read so many books. The first book that I read that really changed my life was Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And
Oh, I have
that book, do you have that? Do you have that
I have
book?
that one, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
That's a good book. That book changed my that I'm not I as a child I've always been I like to consider myself intelligent, but as a child I wasn't too worried about education. I wasn't reading books. I didn't care about going to school, and so when I think I was about 21, one of the managers at the company that I worked for, he, great guy, just gave me so much knowledge in life, not just about how to handle myself on the job and how to perform the job, but how to be a man, and how to be successful in life. I really thank God that he put that gentleman in my life as my mentor, and that guy just took me under his wing and taught me a whole lot. And the things that he told me, the thing that would be that I would have to say is the first time that somebody actually took me under their wing and taught me something, and it just stood with me for the rest of my life. Still with me for the rest of my life, and that changed my life. He recommended that book to me, and he actually read it with me. Me and him read it together, and then we'd have discussions about it, and that book just changed my life. It just changed my life.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Okay, let me say, okay, wait. To answer your question, there's one thing that somebody told me. Okay, and I think I was about 17, 18 years old, and this one guy told me. He said he was a counselor. I was in Job Corps, and he was a counselor. And I told him, I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm going home. I was there for only like a week. He said, I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm going home. He said, um, he said, you're a quitter, and if you continue on the path of quitting, you're going to do it for the rest of your life. It's much easier to quit than it is to continue on to try to succeed. So that's one thing. I remember that. And that's one thing that just stuck with me. It stuck with me. When he said that, I still quit. I quit Job Corps. I still quit. I still quit Job Corps. I said, I don't care. I don't want to be here. I quit Job Corps. But that stuck with me for the rest of my life. That he said if you quit, you're a quitter. He said you're a quitter, and if you quit now, you're going to continue quitting for the rest of your life. And I thought about that. I still quit Job Corps, but still, it stuck with me for the rest of my life. I still, till this day, I say, you know what? It's much easier to quit than it is to continue on and try to succeed.
and that's where that drive came from. That one statement that you didn't understand, but it resonated with you for so long. And now this is the person that you are, the man that you are today because of your resiliency of not quitting.
Exactly, exactly. And
Mm.
that's when I mentioned the mentor that I had. The manager took me under his wing. One of the things that he told me is the second time that I've heard this, because the first time was this guy who said, it's easy to quit, and if you quit now, you're going to be a quitter for the rest of your life. The manager that took me under his wing. He said you need to dedicate yourself to something. He said you need to dedicate yourself to something, and if you don't dedicate yourself to something, you're never going to get anywhere. So that means you find something, you stick with it, and you don't quit, no matter what happens. If you can't dedicate yourself to that one thing, you're never going to accomplish anything. And it stuck with me. I mean, and honestly, I took that information and I stuck with my job because I had a job for 23 years. That was my career. And prior to that, I started that job at 20, but prior to that, I worked like between 15 and 20. I worked like I'd say like 50 jobs, like 50 jobs. The longest I stuck with the job was like a week.
Mm-hmm.
There was one job that I was at for about 2.5 months, but that was the longest. So I had like 50 jobs between 15 and 20 years old. I was only with them for like a week, a month, something like that, right? And so when he told me that, I said, okay, so I dedicated myself to my job. I dedicated myself to my education. I dedicated myself to my kids, to my wife. And I look at where I'm at today after so many years of dedication, it actually paid off.
Ooh, Michael, that's very interesting. I had a thought today, bro, and I don't know why I started thinking this, but I was actually thinking, I'm like, okay, I've been doing this for like 2.5 years. I've been consistent for 2.5 years. I'm seeing the numbers going up. I'm seeing the message touching a lot of people. But then I'm like, why why am I doing it? Why am I doing everything that I'm doing? And I really got to dive in deep. I really got to understand like the reason behind the journey. The journey is to prepare you for the success that has yet to come. If you quit before you even start, if you quit as you're starting, if you quit when things get difficult, you will never be the person that you need to become in order to handle everything that's presented to you. So then
Exactly.
I really got to like diving deep within myself. I'm like, oh, okay, that make a lot of sense. I have the knowledge, I have the education, I have the confidence, but do I have the consistency? Do I have the patience? Do I have the understanding of why I'm doing things today to prepare for years to come? Yes, to answer that question, yes, because I understand the end goal is bigger than today. Your end goal is bigger than a couple years ago because you really had to restructure yourself to become a man to accept everything that you have been through. 50 jobs from 15 to 20, that is a lot of jobs, first off. That is a lot of jobs.
Embarrassed about that. I'm embarrassed about that. I'm not happy about that statistic. Trust me. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. But that's the thing is, I look at it like now. I mean, because I'm saying all this, don't think that there's never times where I just feel like quitting.